All right. It's been ages since I've done my own little live thing. So here we are. Good to see you, everybody. I know there's just a little handful of you. It's early. Trying to stay out of the way of all the other fantastic shows that are on a regular basis here on Saturday. Saturday really has become the live streaming hub, hasn't it? How is everybody? Tony, good to see you. And I see you've got a thesis coming. That's exciting. Do you have a topic? Let's see what he has to say. And we've got Paul is here, and looks like there's a couple others who have not said hello yet, but we'll get caught up with them in a minute. So what I was going to do today was just have a look at my gameplay 12 years ago, kind of contrast it to today, have a chat about my year to see how things have gone. And in terms of gaming, obviously, I don't really care too much about all the rest of it. It's all whatever comes out along the way, we'll deal with it. But, so that was kind of the game plan, and I was hoping we could also get some commentary from the crew, see what everybody thinks. What you've been experiencing this year. So, for instance, like for a start, for me, I had a goal to read 50 books this year. We're halfway through November, 12, or maybe 14. Last time I checked my Goodreads, I think it was at 14, and well behind the pace. So not have been as productive from the reading standpoint as I had hoped. I'm going to remove this for the moment. And so that's a thing. Who's been reading this year? And if you've read anything fabulous, what have you read? That'd be great to hear. Hey, Brian, good to see you. Yeah, and I think it's actually, I picked the 12 number. It's more like 14, I think. But my first year, I really didn't do a whole lot. So my 12 years seemed like a nice span to look at once I kind of got my feet wet in the whole bloggy YouTubey thing. So yeah, Paul, 50 books is a lot, but there was not last year, maybe the year before. You know what? It was probably the COVID era. I put 54 books down, and some of them weren't long, right? There's a lot of Kindle books that are very short, little historical nods to different topics, and so I cranked through a lot of those. This year I read most of the Rommel papers, so I counted that as a win. Hey, you okay? Oh, I fed it. I just put food down for it, so it's fine. Leave it, please. That's okay. Then put her outside. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so that was super fascinating. There goes my rule book. Hang on a sec. All right. Where were we? Books. So yeah, 50 years a lot, but this year, let me just check real quick. We can. Where my phone is. We have a sad cat. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, 17 books this year so far. So I'm going to try and crank out a couple more before the end of the year. So anyway, so that was one topic that I was curious about. If anyone has read anything fantastic or have achieved their goals for reading, that would be interesting to me. What about, and also for me this year, I think it was a fairly lean year in terms of purchases. I didn't really do any homework on that, but how many games has everybody bought this year? So many new titles have come out. A lot of games from Revolution and MMP has pushed out stuff this year. GMT didn't have too much in their wargame department, but Compass, of course, I think, don't they release a new game every month? So it's been quite a. My collection of Compass games is growing exponentially, which has always been interesting. Tony's read too much. Now, Tony, you're reading books or you're reading rule books? Hey, Terry. Good to see you. Paul is saying that Gettysburg Peach Order is my best read of the year. Now, so it's a book that's specifically targeting just that, what was going on in the peach orchard at Gettysburg. That would be interesting. Who was the author for that guy? And good point. Yes, we've got Thin Red Line Games and VUCA and others who are doing wonderful things. I've got a couple of new Thin Red Line games in. I think some of you saw the gameplay from The Fate of All. That was exciting to get that cranked on. I enjoyed my gameplay of that. In fact, I want to get that set up again and try some of the tactical, recreate some of the tactical battles and see how it plays out and compare it to great battles of history and see if where the similarities and differences are, so that we can just so we can shoot the shit about that. Hey, Brian, what's up, dog? I think I already popped you up on the screen, but I thought I'd just say hi again. And Andrew Brown, good to see you. I'm in a constant state of existential crisis, Andrew. We're just going to have to learn to live with it. I think I tried to divest myself of some games this year. I went on a bit of a purging thing, and then had a quick initial response, but then after that, things slowed down, and so I was like, oh well, I'll just keep them. So we'll see. So anyway, there's that. Now, the other thing I was curious about. So in terms of buying, has anyone purchased? Has anyone got any regrettable purchases? Have there been games you've purchased that you're like, wow, I wish I hadn't bought that? I'd be curious to see what people think about that. Because I don't think I have so far. Well, I'm debating exiting the Great Campaigns of the American Civil War series, and so I did buy Thunder in the Mississippi, or whatever it's called. I'm not sure if that's something I should have done if I'm going to exit the series, but I may keep one or two titles. But I was just like, yeah, man, I better get it in case I do want to stay in the series, so I'm complete. I had a little bit of completism going on there. Hey, good to see you, Damn Tim, and good to see Christoph. Welcome. Not sure how everyone's finding the stream. I can see mostly it looks like everybody's coming in via YouTube, which is great. I posted it on Facebook as well, but I got into so much trouble on Facebook recently that I think I'm deprecated, or whatever they do, or they downvote you or whatever, and your stuff doesn't appear in people's threads. Terry's got lots of Ancients reading. You know what's a great read, Terry, is The Logistics of Alexander. That is a fantastic read. And also the Landmark series of books that cover Alexander and Xenophon, and there's a couple others in there. Thucydides, I think they did one. What else was there that I thought? Because they're great books because it's got the original text and then it's got sidebars with notes. And of course, if you're in the Punic Wars, Adrian Goldsworthy's Punic Wars are fabulous as well. Oh, Andrew, yeah. We could talk a long time about Mr. Starkweather and his game systems, but we won't. We won't ruin a good vibe. Oh, now I have not heard of that series there, Andrew. Tied to history. Let me make a note. See, this is why I do these live streams. I'm always learning something from you guys. I need to do them more often. Tides of history. Very cool. Man, yeah, there we go. Well, what a surprise. I can't say I'm surprised there, that's for sure. Well, what about the most fantastic title that you've purchased? Let's on a positive note. Has anyone bought something that had just everyone's just said, "Wow, I can't believe this game. This is awesome." I know there was a lot of enthusiasm around the Thin Red Line games, but then also Flying Pig and their Most Beautiful Sacrifice. Just on sheer quality of componentry in both of those titles, actually, they really knock it out of the park. And gameplay-wise, I think they're both great as well. So that's been pretty cool. Has anyone got a favorite game they purchased this year that I don't know about, that I need to know about, that is ideally something with X's and a war game? That would be cool. I'd love to hear more if anyone's got something. I'm trying to think what my favorite, I think, well, absolutely my hands down favorite game that I purchased this year was The Last Gamble. It's a handful of gaming, and it's probably leaning in on the complex side of things, from just what you need to keep in your head space to play consistently correctly, and in order to enable yourself to take advantage of the system so that you get the result that you're looking for. I'm sorry about the glare here, guys, too. It's we have unfortunately got a lot of glass here. I've got the doors open, so I got a little bit of a cool breeze coming, but this is not studio quality lighting, so bear with me. Burning Banners. Look, if I hear one more person tell me about Burning Banners, I think I'm hearing. Yeah, I've heard some really good stuff about this game. I need to do something. Yeah, that's a great purchase. If you just got that, Brian, what a fantastic purchase. Then the new module is amazing. And it's now on a ship on its way. I've got my sort of it's not pre-production, it's final production copy as a demo copy, and I've posted a couple of videos on it. It's really, really good. Tons and tons and tons of scenarios in it. I think even more than the first module. So I'm super impressed with that. Okay, let's see. The other thing that I wanted to catch up now. Here's the thing that I don't know who else does this, but who buys a game, opens it up, bundles the components, grabs the rule book, reads the rules, and then puts it away and doesn't play it. Do many folks do that? I'm finding that I don't do that, but when I'm considering playing a game, I will, because I'll usually get the game, do a shrink grip on it, have a look at the pieces privately, on my private time, not when I'm filming, and think about, have a quick scheme of the rules and sort of look. Let me just turn my phone off since it's blowing up here. Text messages about a cousin or nephew's football injury. So what was I saying? Yeah, so having I tend to explore the game at a very high level briefly, and then I like to, if it's looking to like it's going to get on the table in the next couple of months, I'll grab the rules, have a quick read, get my head around the concepts if there's something new or different, and then usually wait a couple of weeks, particularly if it's a new game, because there'll be some errata come out. I've been burned way too many times lately with trying to get a game to the table as soon as it comes out. So that, hang on one sec. What's up? Okay. Sure. Should I just set a timer? Apple bread. Stick it in. If it sticks the little doohickey in, and if it comes out wet, it's not cooked. That'll be great. I'll look forward to manage that while I'm online live. Hey, Google, set a timer for 15 minutes. All right. So I'm now in charge of baking the bread. Apple bread too. So I'm excited. All right, let's where now I have no idea what I was talking about. Okay. Rules and consuming rule books. I've found that with errata, I like to have a quick look at the rules, see if I can get through the game without any major issues, have a look for the errata, see how significant that is, and then plan on getting it to the table and sort of going from there. One thing I found with EFS, which is on the table right there, Eastern Front Series, was that it had quite a bit of errata for scenario setups and a few bits and pieces here and there on the rules, which kind of surprised me. It's a second edition, and I know they revamped the rules quite a bit, but there was some surprises in there that kind of caught me off guard. But rule consumption, I'm curious to see. Hey, Achilles, good to see you. I'd love to see and hear what folks, if you have time to comment, share how you like to approach consuming a game in terms of the rules and getting it to the table and all the rest of it. I've found over the last couple of years that folks, developers and designers, I guess, and publishers have really started to look more at the game more holistically and not just here's the map, here's the counters, here's the rule book, have at it. It's now here's almost like here's the game, here's the experience, and here are all the things you need to enjoy the experience. Here's better play aids, double fold out play aids, full color play aids, more heavier stock play aids, less clutter on the map, better art, better artwork on the counters, larger counters for some of those folks who might have failing eyes like me. I had a critical failure a couple of months ago. I realized that my eyesight had degraded probably 10 or 15%. I was looking at counters. It's like, I can't see this shit anymore. So I've got an optometrist appointment, which I haven't been for 2 years. So it's probably time for a new prescription. Anyway, so I think that the gameplay experience has changed a lot, and it gets me kind of excited that we're seeing an investment in what I would call the user interface or the player experience. I think maybe that's a little bit of leak over from, well, I was going to say leak over from the Eurogame world, but you know, some of the stuff they do with their games, just I look at their games when they're being played, and it's just this cacophony of pieces and meeples and squares and cubes and circles and discs and rectangles and little meeple dudes, little ships and shit running all over the place. I have no idea what's going on. So I don't know that that is a game enabler or a gameplay enabler for anybody, but it certainly gets me thinking that there's been a significant improvement over the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm quite pleased to see that the people are taking more care about that. Now, there's extremes. There's Lock and Load Publishing, who have a chart for everything. You can almost, in fact, I do now because I played World of War so much and Lock and Load that I just play off the charts. But they have many charts, and of course, the rule books have become substantially larger with extra artwork and examples, and designer notes kind of take up a lot of space, and then the larger fonts and stuff like that. So they're on the far spectrum, and then I would say there are some other publishers that just don't do enough for us when it comes to presenting the rules. But we can chit chat about those a little bit later on. All right. So what else we got going on here? Let me see. I've heard this is a good game, Terry. I've heard it's a little bit laborious, but you get a great experience out of it. So I hope you enjoy that. That'll be cool. Yeah, and Andrew, that's my deal too. I like to leave the rule book pristine if I can. So The Last Gamble is a great example of that. I've been waiting on a PDF of those rules to come. So I've been annotating it with Post-it notes so I don't mess up the rule book, and it's also not super it's got that thick binding on the end that doesn't make it very user friendly. Speaking of usability, but that's kind of cool. Program rules, yeah, Paul, that's interesting. And that's probably where my age steers me away from program rules, because I have so many games, and there are many that I wish to play multiple times, and there are some that I just want to play to experience them, to see what it was about, or it's about a topic that I care about. And if I need to play something 4 or 5 times before I can get to the campaign game or the main event, depending on what game it is, then, you know, I tend to shy away from that. I'll just read the rules through and then try and jump into it and go for it from there. That said, I do believe that MBT and Panzer do a great job with programming, just because you can pick and choose your rules there. And I have started to play smaller scenarios inside larger game boxes. So, for instance, EFS here is I think it's either a 3 or a 4 map box. I'm playing a 1 mapper right now, the Battle for Smolensk. So I'm seeing evolution in my gameplay and changes. Certainly, when I had the much smaller space down in the barn, when we were living in the barn, I had to compromise on new titles, and could only play smaller scenarios out of the entire shooting match. So that was interesting as well. Look who's here! Hey, bud, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, and I think that's a great point in terms of development. There's development can take many paths, and people have different, I think, philosophies and thoughts about development. And I don't know where I land on this. I think thorough development, looking for edge cases, making sure that it's not a game is easily breakable, is important. I think the play balance side of things is important, but I also think development should help us say, hey, that table that's in the rulebook on page 72 with 4 lines and 3 columns, that should be on a chart somewhere, conveniently associated with CRTs or modifiers. I don't think there's enough of that. I think there's a lot of development is kind of friends and family style development, where it's, hey, I've known designer X for 30 years and I've played all these games, and I love to help. And I think OCS is a great example of that, where all the experts know how to play, and they know how to take advantage of all the rules and take advantage of all the systems that go into the game modules. And then sometimes there's some tweaks and add-ons to a specific module. And those guys kind of get it. And that's sort of the elite next level of gameplay. So the game comes out really well. I'll give OCS guys credit for bringing out some smaller 1 mappers like Reluctant Enemies and Luzon and things like that allow us to get into the game. But it's hard when you've got that cadre of guys who are just deeply experienced, and there's no play testing done with knuckleheads like me who've played a lot, but are still learning tips and tricks and the mechanical nuances of a rich, deep system. So, like, I still don't think I'm playing Tactical Combat System, TCS, well yet. I always end up having the same problem, which means that I'm probably screwing up something. So, there's a great point about development, mate. I think, I don't know. I think there's, Compass does a average job of developing their games. I think GMT probably does a good job overall, but then it can be hit and miss. They have absolute stinkers coming out that have really required a lot of reworking. Compass tend to have sort of this middle of the road. Now, I've been involved in a couple of Compass game development cycles. I've seen the making of the sausage. It's not pretty, but I think the new Desert Generals game that's coming out, those rules got a massive reworking and working over. I did my initial read through it and had a lot of comments, and it's hard to articulate it. I'd rather talk to someone about what's wrong with the rules than and try and type it all up and stuff like that. There was a little disjointedness with those rules, and they're a lot better now. And then I kind of stepped out of it because I really only offered to give the rules a look over. And then I know it's been under pretty aggressive playtesting for the last 24 months or so. So hopefully that'll come out well. Revolution Games crushes their playtesting. The owners there play every game a dozen times, and you rarely see errata for their games. So I'm super pleased with how they handle things. And I think even I'm not sure what goes on at VUCA. I don't know very much about them other than they tend to just design games that have a lot of dice rolling and a bit of a Euro feel to their war games. But we'll see what happens with them. They sort of leave the designer to themselves to get it sorted out. Who else was I thinking of that does good playtesting? Well, Lock and Load Publishing does good playtesting, as does good development, as does Flying Pig as well. Thin Red Line Games. Thin Red Line Games. Man, what a challenge! They are making monster games and complex games, and I don't know what their story is in terms of development. I've actually offered a couple of times to look at the rules before they go out, because there is a European sensibility to the rules writing that is often counterintuitive to me, and I struggle sometimes with the way the rules are written. I would have preferred to be able to read the rules in a westernized, Americanized, is the right word. It's not cadence. It would be using our colloquialisms and using our turn of phrase, I think. Anyway, that's been rambling on. All right, where did we get to? I've got this little list of things that I back in 2012 that I had posted, and I was asking folks on the blog, what did you play? What did you read? Did you read all your rule books that you wanted to? Did you play all the games you wanted to? And I guess that's probably my next topic, next thing to consider, other than getting to a couple of comments here, which is nice. Let's be thinking as I go through comments. I'm probably gonna have to go check this bread because I can smell it. Tell me what best game you played this year, worst game you played this year, games you wanted to play this year that you haven't got to. Be thinking about that, and I'm gonna go check this bread. So bear with me. And I can't believe she just left and left me with this bullshit. All right, how was the Gallipoli game? All right, I need to. So we'll come back to that. Some game companies invest in game development, others don't bother. Well, I don't know that they don't bother. I think they just leave it to the designer. So that's hard to say who does that. And I would say VUCA leaves it to the designer. I would say Lock and Load is very adamant about getting their games right. So is Flying Pig to a large extent. GMT have a good development. They have a methodology, I think, that's very well structured, but sometimes shit slips through the cracks. And Compass is hit or miss. But I think they're improving. And in the last gamble, which I will hold out as being the best Compass game I've played in a long time, and is also the best Bulge game that I've played, hands down. I think that's pretty interesting. But I want to come back to this thing in a second, and I'm gonna go check this bread. So don't leave, or leave, whatever works for you. But I'll be back in hopefully just a minute. Without slamming the door. Good grief. That bread smells amazing. All right. let's check this timer. It's going to be way more than 15 minutes. View timers. Hang on, guys. Yeah, 6 seconds. How about that? I timed that 15 minutes pretty well, didn't I? All right, delete, dismiss. Let's do another 10. Start. For those just joining us, I have been placed on apple bread monitoring duties as it's baking because it didn't cook yet. All right, so how was the Gallipoli game? Gallipoli game, if you like area-based games like the, what's that system, that series called? Storm Over series, you're going to love the game. It's that. With a few little twists here and there, playing cards for combat versus dice rolling. Though I think I recall you can do both. They sent it to me. It was a complimentary copy. It's beautiful. I felt a little frustrated with it. I think it was hard to get momentum going and combat going and stuff like that. So I would suggest that if you do enjoy the Storm Over series, you would probably like this game a lot. But it's pretty abstract. So there's that. There you go, Tony. That's about all I got to say for it. And you know what? I'll probably either do a giveaway of that or something like that at some point. And we'll kind of take it from there, I guess. We'll see what happens, right? All right. So before I dashed off to the oven to check the bread, I had asked if you guys had played anything fantastic this year that you were either surprised with or impressed with or loved. What was the least attractive game or interesting game that you played? I'd be curious to see that. I think it's good for us to be thoughtful about what we play, and rather than just say, "Oh, I love everything." We can love everything. It's like saying, "I love all food." I don't, right? I don't like asparagus. I don't like blue cheese. And going through the experience of not enjoying that is not something I enjoy. So the blithe commentary around just love everything, that's not who I am. I whenever I make, for instance, with food, nearly every time I cook with my son, I've got my eldest and my middle guy pretty well trained to give me critical feedback on everything we do, everything I make. We don't do that with mom because mom doesn't like to get feedback. And that must be an American thing. But I look, if I make smash burgers or steak or some new vegetable dish or whatever, I'll ask, "What do you like about it?" And I'll say, "Do you like dinner?" And they'll go, "Love it, Dad." "Okay, well, what do you like about it? And what could be better?" And I always want to know what can be better, because what can you tune or tweak for the people you're serving, right? So I'm the same with war games. When I get into a war game, I want to, as I guess a content provider, producer, sharing my experiences, whatever. I want to be able to share with you what I found was awesome about a game, what I thought was problematic, or whether it was a terrible experience for me. And you got to keep it in. I think everyone is mature enough to keep in mind that I'm just sharing what my experience is. That doesn't mean that it's a bad game. I've moderated my critiques in the last 4 or 5 years to add the "not for everybody," right? Whereas usually I would just say it was a piece of shit, right? Or that it was the best game ever. But I do that now mainly because I realize that we're not all the same, and there are folks that like different things. And I have been over the last decade, right, very focused on just sharing my thoughts and my experience, because I don't get to talk about war games very much. That's why I love doing these live streams, and I've missed them. But now that we're actually solidly in the house, my goal or my hope is that I can start doing some more gameplay live streams for you guys, so you can actually see the games being played and see why I like something or see why I don't like something. When I feel like I've got a level of comfort with the rules. Over the last 5 months, well, it's April to now, I don't know how many months that is, but we moved in 1st or 2nd of April It's taken us a while to kind of get settled. We've still got, you can still see pictures back and hanging, leaning against the wall there, and we're certainly not 100% done. And my builder has kind of disappeared on me. He's having financial difficulties, so we're debating: do we finish certain things ourselves? Do we fix certain things ourselves? Which has nothing to do with wargaming. I don't know how I got off on that track, but the point here is that I would love to be able to get more of the live streaming going. I've got some decent lighting here. It's not amazing, but I think I certainly have the space. I designed the house around my war game room, so that's worked out really well. So we've got lots of room, but I want to be able to get more content out to you guys that talks about where I'm at with the game versus just doing recaps, right? And wrap ups that probably miss a lot of the juicy bits. Anyway. So let's see. Program rules becoming popular. We did that. Content. How was Gallipoli? We covered that. I feel like it's a time like demands constant releases. Yeah, that's an interesting point. And you would think that a small market wouldn't need constant releases. A small market, given how many games we all have on plate, I've got. I was looking back in this 2012 thing, and I was trying to reduce my collection down below 150 games, and I think I got it down to like 110 or 120. Let me just delete that. Let me see what's in here, because I want to talk about this as well. Hang on one sec. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so in 2012, I said I had a major purge in November to get my collection down to 150 titles. But opportunistic buying saw that surge back up to 170 plus. I'm not going to get on BGG and tell you how many games I own right now, but I believe it's around 350. Now, and I've owned over 900. So I've cycled a lot of stuff, and I have a full bookcase of games in where that white towel is, in the linen closet that all need to go. So there's probably 80 games in there that need to find a new home. Anyway, I'm curious about why so much is getting pumped out and what the rush is like, because it used to be games would take 10 years to get done. Now we have print on demand, and I think there are some developers and designers that are just pushing stuff out the door because it's a generic system, number one, or it's a money grab, number two. I don't know what the other reasons might be for slapping stuff out that don't work really well. But Blue Panther's doing a great job of print on demand. And I think I also saw that they actually have like regular counters now as well. So just not the big thick cardboard things that they do. So they're changing the war game market and allowing and enabling us to have anyone to publish, for them to come out much quicker. So that's a good and a bad thing. That war game, yeah. So yeah. So I've got two different tables there. So I've got two 4x4 steel tables, and then just a little. These are 6x2, 6x. Is this 6 feet? No, it's just 4 feet. This one actually is 4x2 that I've got my desk on, and that's a 6. That guy right there, that's a wooden top there. That's a 6x2, and that's adjustable height. Just a crank adjustable height, and so I can add on to those two 4x4 tables, and they're steel with wheels, and the wheels were super expensive. They were not what I wanted, but those tables weigh 400 pounds each, and they're super heavy, 400 pounds, and they're awesome. I nearly got 3 of them. I'm glad I didn't, because they do take up a lot of room, and I want to get one more of those tables so that I can add them along the side or along the end, or have charts and stuff off to one side. So I've got 2 games set up over there at the moment. I think I have enough space to do 8x10 game, 8 foot by 10 foot game, like a monster game. But we'll kind of, I've got fold-up tables outside that I can add, but I think they're going to be different heights. So there's going to be a little bit. So, and I got them in Austin. There's some steel. It's a Mexican dude, welder dude, right? He's got his huge shop there, and they're not high-end, well produced items. Here's the 10-minute mark for the bread. I'm going to be right back. Here? Let's do this before I go any further. Yes, agreed. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Andrew. There is a good community and around certain publishers that dive in and help. I know if anyone says to me, can you read the module rules for a TCS game, for multi-man publishing, or for Lock and Load, or Vento Nuovo, I help them out all the time. Just a quick rule read. I don't like play testing an unfinished game, particularly if revisions are going to pop out every week. It gets super frustrating for me, and it's not where my happy place is. I'm going to leave that there for a minute. We'll come back to that. I better go check this bread. Bear with me, guys. All right. The bread's cooked. Piece of apple. Bear with me for a sec. I had asked if folks had played anything spectacular. I haven't got down to that part yet. There's a lot of comments here, so we're working on it. Compass. I think Compass went through a stage where they were taking old games and doing designer editions and kind of fix them and flip them kind of thing. Maybe a little art upgrade, and mistakes got made along the way. And then they started doing more new titles, and that they had development issues with those, but still nice quality components, generally speaking, but not great, right? They've had lots of issues with map quality and stuff like that. Paper quality and ink quality and stuff like that. But overall, I think the progression is going up and to the right, right? The effort there to get things right and to send out errata counters without asking and making it happen, I think is awesome. And I think the development process is getting better and better. They've released some games that are more monster-ish. Where is it? It's in my, like, Air and Armor. Like that's overdone to me. No one had an editor to take a pen to the rule book and slim it up and make it consumable. But the charts and the maps and the artwork and all the rest of it are great, but the rule books to me was a complete shit show. So that was disappointing. Pivot to The Last Gamble, and you're reading an extremely concise rule book that says exactly what it means, with not a lot of duplication or replication, and great little footnotes and very fine print down the bottom that you can read that give you context, either from a designer note perspective or from why is the rule this way perspective, or an application of the rule that gives you some context. So I think they're doing a lot better job. They're plagued with guys like Adam Starkweather, who, Well, everyone knows what I think about Adam's games. Adam sells almost playtest kits, I think, and they're extremely expensive. They're always going to be big. So you're dropping hundreds of dollars on stuff that's kind of half-assed. And it's really, really, really disappointing and annoying. And I've stopped supporting him like off the bat. I have a couple of his games here that I'm going to play just to see if they are as bad as I think they are. And that I've heard, right? I got them super cheap, so it's no skin off my nose for that. And then the other problem with Compass is they unfortunately have Ty pushing out games, and they're extremely generic abstract schlock that blank maps with a couple of cities on them and some woods, and here's a different OB that no one can argue with because it's a what if game. So it's kind of odd. Anyway, I'm rambling about Compass. I love what they're doing overall, but they're saddled with a couple of things that pull them down. And then they have a development process that is still evolving. It'll get better. All right. Yeah, man, here's a... Yeah, so that Sound of Drums game company is doing some really, really good things. I'm generally speaking impressed, but the fact that we're on 1.5 of the rules and the game's only been out 6 months speaks to underdevelopment. And when I've got a pre-release copy of the game, it was not good, right? It was difficult to play, and I had hundreds of questions about what the heck was going on and what are we trying to model here and all the rest of it. I think it's improved a lot, but the mistakes that were made on the charts are just unacceptable. And how that got through the checking or development process, I don't understand. I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but there were folks that play tested the heck out of that and played a lot and said it was great. And I think we can do better and just have a critical eye on things, and let's make the games better and not just say it's fine. Which is why I don't often why I don't get invited to help us, because I'm critical. I try and be helpfully critical, but it doesn't always work out that way. All right. Yeah, the Apple Bread live stream. My wife goes to see her friends at 10 o'clock every Saturday, which is why I was doing a live stream at 9:30, thinking to give me some hour and a half of quiet time and we can hang out here together and shoot the shit. Didn't realize that the apple bread wouldn't be cooked. So there you go. All right. Yeah, flanks of Gettysburg. Just what a shame, right? Well, Andrew, tell me about that. Like, what do you mean when you say passion? What type of passion? In terms of accuracy or dedication, or what does that mean, Andrew? I want to hear more. I have not played The Struggle for Zorn. I just did that first sci-fi game of theirs that was goofy, and I loved it. That solo game. I forget what it was called now, but it was awesome. I'm trying to scroll down. Man, you guys are on a roll here. I got to catch up. Here we go. Yeah, Christoph, I felt kind of the same way. I enjoyed it. I didn't play very much of it because it's a solo game and it just wasn't floating my boat. But I got it, and I thought it was smarter than the original. Although I still like the original. I think I'm going to keep my copy of the original. In fact, or did I sell it? I don't know. Anyway, I thought Carrier was great as well. Paul, that's a really interesting observation. I owe BCS more love. I have not invested enough time in it to become as comfortable with the system as I want to be. I was a big early fan, and then I started playing the last Blitzkrieg with the version 1 rules, and it just evolved into a hot mess. And all on me because I dove into the game head first, and I should have taken smaller bites. I've played some of the other smaller modules, and they're okay. But then the rules evolved and everything changed, and now I'm kind of at the point where, well, I need to go back and reset all of my thinking about what I thought about BCS and how fire actions work and stops work and stuff like that. I'm out of sync with I'm thinking in the old rules mode, and I've yet to erase that from my memory. So unfortunately, I have reasonable recall on rule books, and when I read a new rule that for a system that I've known for a long time, quite a while, I get this confusion going on, and it's very difficult for me, particularly solo, to get through a game and not foobar the gameplay. I recall, what was it? Baptism of Fire, or one of them. I restarted, and I was actually playing live at occasional points. I restarted the freaking scenario 3 or 4 times because I kept screwing stuff up because I was mentally playing a prior version of the rules. Super frustrating. I'm such a dork. Anyway. Wow, that's really disappointing. I had thought that would be much, much better release there, Achilles. I did not know that. So that's interesting to know. Yeah, I have not. I played one turn with Mo live, and when I saw airstrikes taking out an entire battalion or brigade or whatever it is, I got a little frustrated. That's a scale thing, and it just bothered me. Blowing holes in the line. Oh, I'm going to do an airstrike here and here, and the line's gone. Now, I know it's a weak turn, but you've got a weak turn with battalion-sized units on hexes that are, bigger than the frontage of a battalion. It makes for odd gameplay. So I need to revisit that. I think I still have it. I was tempted to sell it. Maybe I sold it. No, there it is. It's there. So we'll get back to that at some point. A tiny market with few breakout hits with crossover potential is a really bad spot if you have too many releases. Yeah. Well, development doesn't get paid for. Now, NIKD, is that going to be Nick? I don't want to say your name incorrectly, but developers aren't paid, generally speaking. They may receive a free copy of the game. I know that GMT will do that. I know that Compass will sometimes do that. I'm sure MMP does it as well. Yeah, Kyle is here, man. Yeah, good to see you. So I don't. Development is odd. It's a passion thing, and that's where I was asking Andy. Andy, did you answer the question I asked you? Probably not yet. Well, maybe we'll get down there. And when the artillery falls short, he puts the table a little bit closer. Yeah, exactly. But many are collectors. Yeah. So look, I was talking to a guy the other day who has 3,000 or 4,000 titles, and he doesn't really play many at all. He plays Avalon Hill things. He's got 2 or 3 copies of each Avalon Hill game, and some of them are mint because he thinks they're going to wear out at some point or something. And he's just collected everything that comes out from all the major publishers, and he wants to collect, and that's cool. That's what he wants to do. That's awesome. I want to tear that I want to get that shrink rip off. I want to roll those dice, and I want to see what happened historically. How does this game present that to me? What books do I need to go read about that, and kind of get after it from there. So that's kind of my excitement with the games. Collecting here, I'm actually starting to break up my collections. I've sold off some OCS games. I no longer own the entire series of those. I don't own the entire series of TCS either, and they're 2 passion plays for me. Lock and Load, I still have everything, but I'm seriously considering letting some of those go too. So Yeah, that's a really good point, man. And we have a hey, look, it's like going to dim sum. When was the last time you said you were upset because you had too many choices, right? There's Let's be happy that we have the plethora of choices. I think I'm thrilled. I think this is I don't want to use the word golden age because it's kind of lame, but this is just an amazing time to be a war gamer. So many choices. Hoarders. I don't know that they're hoarders, man. Some of these guys that are buying multiple copies of things and sitting on them, it's stupid because they're not going to retain their value unless it's CNA or Case Blue. And there's even talk of Case Blue coming out with a potential reprint or a modified reprint of that, rescaled and redone. So the folks who are out paying $700-800 a copy for that are going to be sorely disappointed, right? When the new one comes out, and next thing you know, it's worth $100, and so you're down 600. So now it'll be years before it comes out, but I'm seriously considering getting another play of Case Blue in, and letting it go, just because I'm not gonna play it a third time. So we'll let it go at a decent price somewhere at some point. All right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, GMT is dependent on coin, and it's also trying to broaden its reach into the Euro space, and all the baggage that comes with that, I guess. What's going on, Kyle? What I've played that I really liked in the last few months. Interesting. And Downfall, huh? I have not played Downfall. I'd be curious to hear more about that. Yeah, and so here's the sad thing with the Sim Canada games. Wow, I mean, not only are they just doing straight reprints, so they're not putting any of the errata in or fixing anything, they're making compound errors, with the stuff, with the rules. That freaking Desert Rats or not Fall of Tobruk. That's Chris Fawcett that I'm playing right now. I don't know, whatever that. Rommel's Greatest Victory or whatever it's called, that's it was a magazine game. What a what a bad game that was a bad game. I was not happy with that. Very frustrated. I paid $60 for that thing. Well, I tell you what, here's a dirty secret. When I'm going to play a game, I'll pull 2 or 3 titles out and put them on the table, and then look at the rules, and I'll jump online to see if there's a rule summary and see how good that rule summary is. And that's probably going to lead me to playing that game first before the others, particularly if it's a brand new game, brand new system. So like Fall of Tobruk I'm playing right now, I was really wishing there was a good rule summary out there, but there's not. There's a 2-pager that's out, but it's really kind of crappy. It's almost like a cut and paste of the rules summarized. And Fall of Tobruk's not a bad game. It's not complicated really at all. So, but anyway, that is one of the things that I look for when I go to play a game, Andrew. Podcast conventions appearing in media. I don't understand that. Oh yeah, I tell you what, it smells pretty amazing. I opened the oven and turned it off. I'm not sure that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't cook bread, so Voltus Lead the Way. I haven't played that one either. No, it wasn't Voltus Lead the Way. It was the very first one he did with the gargantuan monster things that arrive. It's got a funky name, the Colossi or something. I can't remember what it was called, but it was really fun. Solitaire game. Oh, you go, Terry. Maybe you can. I'll follow your experiences. Eric, good to see you. Good morning from sunny California. It's sunny here too. We have that in common. So that's good to see. Eric, did you ever get your copy of Lock and Load's Napoleonics game to the table. I'll be curious to hear any thoughts or feedback. I know you were planning on playing. Platinum Age, you're hilarious. Golden Age indeed. Yeah, that's a good point, Paul. I mean, when you look at Thin Red Line Games, they make 750 copies. They could do more, but it costs more, and they don't ask you to prepay. They print it, pay for it. It's in the warehouse. It's in wherever they keep them, and then they ship them, and they're done. And you're not getting a second chance unless they do a second edition. The only ones that are really like the Under an Iron Sky got printed 2 or 3 times, I think. I don't know that Sacred Oil will get a second run. I don't think it has been as well received. I don't know why. I haven't played the full campaign yet, so we'll have to get to that. Hey, John, good to see you, man. What's going on? Oh, you've missed it. You've missed me making apple bread while I'm live streaming at the behest of my wife, and we've just been shooting the shit about the year. And which reminds me, we need to get back on topic since I was kind of engrossed in talking through commentary with folks. And welcome to those people who just joined. If you're just joining in, please just say hi so we know you're here and who you are, and we won't yell at you if you leave. It's okay if you get bored. We understand. It's just little old me. Where we got here? Oh, so we were talking about buying and selling games. We're talking about who's bought how many. I'd be curious to see who's bought more than 10 games this year. I'd be curious to see if anyone's done that, and who's bought more than 20. Just out of a little tag in here, just pop a note in. That'd be interesting to see. Has anyone, and how many games have you sold, if any, this year? I've sold 10. I think 10 or 12, and I'd love to do another sale, but I missed my window. All the fall winter sales are happening, so I can't ask my outrageous prices when they're cheaper. They're cheaper on the website from somebody else. Yeah, yes. So there's a guy who has done some great stuff, right? Greg Smith has done some excellent stuff. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for sharing that with me. I was unfamiliar with that game. Christoph, where are you? Belgium? Thanks for sharing that, Eric. Look at these guys, studs. Huh, nice. Kilroy, good to see you, man. Yeah, it's just sunlight. I actually thought it was my camera, but I cleaned it before I started the show. So my apologies. It is we've got a bright sunny day here, and it's proving to be. Whoops! Now you had to go and move the camera, didn't you? It's proving to be causing a little bit of haze. All right, I'm going to keep running through these, but I'm curious about. What have you bought? What have you sold in terms of volume? Like how many have you sold games? Have you bought games? Snowy, how about that? Hey, Jeff, good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm going to share a couple of pictures in a minute of my gameplays in 2012 versus my gameplays this year. It's been interesting. Yeah, good to see you again, Christoph. Because now, Christoph, are you the Christoph that I had a beer with in Belgium? Because I believe you are, and I'm glad you're here. So thanks for tuning in. That was good times. There we go. Very cool. Paul's bought a swag. Robert's bought 10 or 12, sold 6 or 8. Good for you, Robert. Got to let him go, right? Let him be free. I'd be curious about what you're buying at a Hollandspiel game. Votes for Women, or anyway, just curious. Okay, so let me get back to this. Who clips? 2012 clipping was a big thing for me, and I would clip the game in toto all the way through, make it happen, beautify it, box it, rack it, stack it, put it in trays, and then get to it and play it, right? These days, I clip what I need for the scenario, clip some info counters, everything goes back in baggies. I've got dozens of trays I rarely use. My lifestyle, my attention to that level of detail has changed. Now, if I'm going to play a campaign, I will probably go through and clip everything, but generally, I'm really only clipping what I need, which you need to know that if you're buying a game from me. It may not be entirely clipped. But if I'm sitting on the sofa with the missus watching some nonsense on TV, I will generally pull a game out with me and clip while we watch. Oh, here we go. Here's that's great. Oh, that's funny, Kilroy. You're cracking me up. Yeah, like I used to go to the trouble of making those little. There was a little PDF online that had all the lined up so that you could fold and fold. I put a little folded piece of paper in the GMT trays, and let you have two sets of counters. So like you could have all the units for a division on one side and all the units for a division on another side. I used to go through doing all that, printing all that sort of stuff up. I think I still have some of that done for a couple of the old OCS titles. Now it's like it's in the bag, and I scratch the divisions. It's division 1 through 27 in the bag. Good luck. A lot of clipping. Here we go. Yeah. It is relaxing. It is relaxing to me. I enjoy it. Although sometimes when I'm setting up, because I'm doing it as I'm setting up sometimes, like my back was killing me when I was doing the EFS scenario I'm doing. It was a lot more counters than I thought, and it wasn't clipped. And so it was tiring. I actually need to vacuum the floor in here because it's covered in clippings. Oh, goodness me. Yeah. You picked two big systems there, buddy. You guys. I love it. I love it. All right. All right. Very cool. So I want to share. Let me just take that off the screen. While you guys are on it. I want to share. How do I do that? That's right. Add to stage. There we go. Is this thing up now? Let me see if I can put this up here for a second. Oh, shoot. Wrong way. Sorry. This is a fire. I want to replicate this fireplace, but for cheap. Look at this. And isn't this house awesome? It's not a house. It's a convention center, but I love the pool. Anyway. This is, what is this? That's 2012. So, where's the, okay. Can you guys see that? Is that visible enough? I can actually get off the screen. You don't need me on here. That doesn't make any difference. All right. Anyway, so I'm having a hard time seeing that. I don't know if anybody else. So I'm going to look down here. I thought this was in 2012. Now, this must have been right when I was getting into lock and load tactical, and I was living in Austin, and I was playing with a couple of guys. I had a regular crew of guys that we would play with. There was one chap in particular, Pete, that I would play with on a almost weekly basis. We would meet at every Thursday or Friday night. We would meet at a game store, and we would play lock and load, or we played World at War, because I played a lock and load tactical 26 times in 2012. I played 26 times. I played World at War, and in amongst that, during that year, this was the year that I set up. I don't know if you can see my mouse here. I set up Case Blue and Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2 and played the campaign. Got through from October, whatever, 7th, whatever it is, or 5th or whatever the correct number is, to middle of January. Had a great experience with that. That was super fun. But then you can see there's, kind of all over the place the rest of the time. Lots of great battles of history, 6 independent OCS plays and 5 independent TCS plays. And then I played Washington's War opposed with a bunch of guys. And we played Wellington's Peninsula. And I did these, a lot of solo stuff as well as in here. I played Wings of War at a con. That was super cute. And then all the SCS titles that you see there, like Yom Kippur and where is Bastogne Screaming Eagles. There's a couple others here somewhere. All of those I played opposed, and we played Angola. You see, I played that 4 times. But the SCS titles we played opposed, and we will put 2 copies of the game up. And there were 4 of us, and we play side by side and see what happened. Hey, Jack, good to see you, bud. Nice. Jack, by the way, is a great musician. You guys should go check out his music. He's awesome. He does great stuff. Hard to read. Okay, that's good to know. All right, so let me see. I don't know if I can make it. Can I do this? No, here we go. I can zoom it in here, and then we'll just scroll. Is that better, guys? So you can see I went through this rampage with Lock and Load. The magazine game, Raid and Riposte. I love that game. It was so cool. I played that 5 times. It's a solo. You can play a solo and opposed. Oh, look, there's Line of Fire, 4 plays. So that's more Lock and Load. Lots of great battles of history. Yeah, I got super deep, Andrew, in Lock and Load Tactical. I just love that. It was the right level of narrative. Games are pretty to look at, and it played fast, and it was, it's like any I say it's ASL based because it's got its roots in ASL, like so many tactical games, but it was far more approachable and quicker playing. Way to go, Kyle. Now see, I know that's not right. Phantom Fury, I played that at least twice. Maybe that was the next year I played it again. A couple of little magazine games I played. So, and also this was back when I was going to a con every February. If you actually look at my monthly plays, you see that January and February I had this huge spike. Like in January, I played 30 games. So anyway, so there's that. Now we go to the next picture. Now this is this year, right? Very different, right? But a lot of bigger games, and but still nowhere near the volume, right? And a lot of single players as well. You'll see that I got Battles of Napoleon I allow in here twice. 2 plays of The Last Gamble. One was a truncated scenario with it was a 7-turn scenario, I believe, and I think I played 3 or 4 of them. So a real change in the dynamic. Larger games, longer games, but also, funnily enough, now that I'm traveling less, working less, I'm playing less, which is something I need to sort out. I need to get. I'm missing being productive with my gaming, which is annoying. I'd like to be able to get multiple plays of some of these games in before I get too much older, before it's a problem. Let's see what else we got. I'm just checking in on folks here. All right, fellas. So there's that. So that I'm curious about how your gameplay experiences have changed over time. Trying to find my little list of questions I want to ask. And here comes my son. I'm doing a live stream, buddy. There is some apple bread in the oven. Oh, you spoke to Mom? Cool. All right. She probably sent you to check it. It's in the oven. Just pull them both out. Sorry, guys. All right. Where are we? Are you? Yeah. So here was something that was. Now that I'm banned on Board Game Geek, I really don't participate over there very much. But I tongue in cheek asked if you were happy with your thumb count from Board Game Geek for the year. In 2012, because I used to look at that to see if people were liking or disliking my commentary. All right, so let's see what else I've got in here that I thought was interesting. And I'm probably gonna. Oh, here's a question for you. I'm gonna bring up the. Has anyone taught anybody a game this year? Has anyone introduced a non-war gamer to a war game? To war games this year? I'd be curious to see if anyone's done that out of the folks that are online with us. This year I have not taught anybody a new game, nor have I introduced anybody. Generally speaking, I try and do that every year. I also like to try and promote a lot of the smaller channels. I went through an exercise a couple of years back now, but all the channels, the wargaming channels I could find that had less than 1,000 subscribers, good boy, less than 1,000 subscribers, I would host them on my channel, try and get them a couple of dozen extra subs, and at least make everyone aware, and do those YouTuber interview things. So I think helping build community is important. So who's been helping folks learn new games or get into the hobby? Anyone here? Here we go. Paul has 6 high school students. Fantastic. What game did you present to them, Paul? I'll be curious. And did you modify it for their consumption? Is it any good? Oh, feel free to take as much as you like. I'm just teasing, sir. Wow. Yeah, I accidentally bought 2 copies of A Winter's Victory. I'm going to need to sell one of those in a little while. Well, you got a bunch of games here, dude. That's great. Good for you. Yeah, you do a lot of that, Mike, and that's great. You're a treasure to the community. Whoops, I want to grab this first. I left a VUCA game to a friend, crossing the line, Arkin. He's going to go through rules now. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and that's kind of a fun game to get started on. It's not too complicated. Maybe try a Stormover series game. That might get him hooked. There we go. Fantastic. This is the way right here. You don't need no stinking Euro games. All you need is war games. It's all good, my friends. Good job. Oh, nice. Very cool, Eric. That's great. Great to see. All right. I tell you what, I am just to look. Let me just flick through here and make sure that. And if anyone has questions they want to ask or whatever, anything like that, just by all means jump in. But I want to just check my list here. Oh, so looking forward, I guess it would make sense to ask this question. Do you think you'll be playing more or less war games next year? Number one. Number two, what games do you want to play? What monsters or what large games or what complex games? What games that you have you're excited about and really wanting to get to? They have an itch to want to play. What are those titles that you're looking forward to playing next year? I'd be curious about that. And hear what your war game plans are. I tend to be a little bit seat of the pants when it comes to building a catalog of games I want to play for the year. I like to sort of go with the flow and see what is appealing to me versus being on a strict schedule. And unfortunately, I used to complain about, or at least I used to silently complain, although sometimes I have verbally complained on Mo's Wargame channel about not receiving complimentary games, or about games to share with folks, to do promotion stuff on. But I have recently been receiving a lot of games, and it puts an obligation on me that is a little challenging. And I've now been communicating back to publishers when I'm offered games that if it's for a Kickstarter, you've got to get it to me before the Kickstarter starts. You've got to really, you've got to give me time to get to it. And you've also got to be happy regardless of what comes out of my mouth about it. So, that can often be a challenge, because if something's incomplete, we've got to put it in context, but you're going to get my unfiltered view. Or if it's really bad, I'm just not going to cover it. And I'll send it back to them, and we'll kind of go from there. So having a volume of games, it really, some of them free, makes for a challenge to cover all these games, but then also have my fun of getting deep, like I am with these two titles that I have up on the table currently, and playing them to the extent that I want to. So anyway, let's see what's going on here. Yep, Tim, that's a good mode to take. I just want to get through my collection and play them and experience them, and then look for commonalities and similarities, and compare and contrast, and obviously explore the history, which is all part of it. But yeah, play more of what you like. So that's why I think going wrong way. Going back to this, playing 26, playing Lock and Load Tactical 26 times. I got a lot of enjoyment out of that, and a lot of social interaction that was fantastic. I enjoyed it. It was great. But I also got to play a really broad swath of games here, so that was cool too. But anyway. Oh, Frederick is a great game, though. I know it's a little bit more Euro-y, but it's a cool game. Yeah, I want to learn GTS too, Kyle. I need to. Are you going to go to MonsterCon? Because if you are, maybe that's something we could do. Maybe we could play GTS there. I'd be interested to see if you're going to go. Or Swallow. I like to call it SwallowCon, Donkey Con, whatever it's called. What is it called? I forget the name of it now. But Mitch's event. Oh yeah, I'm super excited about that system. Hopefully we'll have that in our hands by the second half of 25. Yes. Oh wait, but isn't that coming out through Hexasim or Nuts Publishing or something? I don't think it's coming out through Old School Tactical, is it? Through Flying Pig. Well, Robert, sometimes we just got to sit down and make time. And this is something that I've said to folks a lot. I hear it from a lot of people who say, "Oh, if I only had more time," and it's always something interrupts. I have this deal with my wife that this is my hobby. I really don't have many other hobbies, and it's important to me. And I allocate time, and I reserve time, and I say, "No, I don't want to go to dinner with you and your friends. I'm playing games tonight." We have that arrangement. And I think if people are respectful of who you are as a person, and they appreciate that this is a passion for you, we as individuals, as guys, because 97% of wargamers are guys, 97% of us, we got to be able to put a little hand up and say, you know what? Saturday, I'm not doing honeydews. I'm not working in the yard. I'm not feeding the chickens. I'm not getting the apple bread. Oh, I will get the apple bread out of the oven, but I need to have my game time, and that's what I'm going to do. As soon as we're done here, I will be playing war games for the rest of the day until about 2 o'clock, and then I'm going to go out and crank on some yard work and get some things done. Go make it happen, Robert. You can do it. Got to roll those dice, right? Oh, sweet. Combat 2 is going to be awesome. Yeah, that's a great module. You'll like it. Some Vuku. Oh, Vuku, that's right. It's Vuku that's doing it. Thanks, Christoph. I knew it was someone fancy. Fancy and European. Nice. Okay, that's a shame. Well, I was gonna say, if you were going, I would love to. Maybe we could get a team of 4 together and play. But I'm on the list to go this year. Huh. Yeah, I'm kind of moving to the point where I went through a phase of 70s and 80s games, and I'm kind of over them. There's a few gems in there, but I played a lot of crappy games from the 70s and 80s, and I'm done. I've got too much new stuff that looks fantastic and that has modern thinking behind the game mechanics and innovative game mechanics. It gets me excited. Lucky Forward, I've played a little bit of that. It's a great game. If you like the GOS system, you'll have fun. All right, gentlemen, you know what? I think, speaking of gaming, hour and 26 minutes, I have probably blathered on enough with you. I appreciate all your time. Thanks for joining in, and not really a celebration of 12 years, but just a compare and contrast, and a chat about my year and your year. It was good to get together with everybody. So I appreciate you all, and we will talk soon, and hopefully we'll be doing some live streaming here, and we'll get together, and you can all laugh at my mistakes. We'll do that together. Look forward to it. All the best. Ciao. Roll dice.